Hello and welcome to You So You. My name's Zoe and this is my channel all about the crafty bits and pieces I get up to. I knit, I sew, I spin on a drop spindle, dabble in weaving from time to time, and anything else that takes my crafty fancy. Now it's Talk Like a Pirate Day, so we are taking a look at patterns to help you dress like a pirate. So put your feet up, grab your rum, and let's get started. Ahoy there, me hearties! Welcome back to any returning viewers and to any new viewers. A very warm welcome to you. As I mentioned in the opening to this video, in honour of Talk Like a Pirate Day, I'm going to share with you some patterns with a piratey vibe that you could use to create a whole pirate style outfit. Now, my criteria for selecting patterns has nothing to do with historical accuracy. It's more the overall feel of the pattern. I'm looking for garments that can work together to give a cohesive piratey vibe as an outfit, but that you can also turn around and do double duty, wear them to the office or the pub if that's happening where you live, and use it in your everyday wardrobe, because who doesn't love a double duty garment? If you're going to take the time to make it, let's not just keep it for fancy dress. So we're not talking sexy pirate, it's more pirate with an office job. But of course, my idea of what constitutes a piratey vibe is very much rooted in my background. I am British, so I have a very Eurocentric concept that I'm working with here. There were some very fierce pirates from other parts of the world. I'm thinking China in particular. There's a quite well-known female pirate who was apparently the most successful in the world. And she was so successful that her navy was bigger than the countries would be. To the point where China had to negotiate a settlement with her. Quite some rise from being a prostitute to being more powerful than your government. So that's quite fantastic. And of course, the clothes that Chinese pirates would have worn would be very different to the clothes that European pirates would have worn. So I'd love to see a modern take on how a Chinese person would be influenced and create something inspired by Chinese pirates, or indeed any other culture, because obviously if you've got a seafaring community, that's going to give opportunity to pirates and privateers. Privateers, I don't know if anyone else had them. The British government certainly had privateers. They're essentially legalised pirates, because we were like that back in the day. Okay, so let's talk shirts first. Now, patterns I have picked out as I identify as female are very definitely female designed patterns, as in designed for the female form, but you could equally do this with unisex patterns or with male patterns as well, depending on what sort of fit you want. Piratey shirts are going to be quite loose anyway. The first one that I've picked out is, who's hoping I say this name right? The Edwige? Let's go with Edwige. The Edwige Blouse by Vicki sews. Now I picked this one out because it's got those like voluminous, fluffy sleeves that you think of when you think of pirates, or at least European pirates, and then that tight cuff as well, which make it practical to wear every day because it'll keep the blouse on effect of the sleeves out of the way. It's also got a nice piratey neckline, this open neckline, and it's closed with loops and buttons rather than buttonholes. So that just gives that piratey feel at the neckline. It is quite smart as a separate item to go on to an office job in particular. So I really like that one. That one leapt out to me as I was looking through patterns, thinking about piratey shirts. But I have an alternative if that's really not your kind of thing, which is a bit more casual. This is the March top and dress pattern by Helenis Closet. Again, we've got the billowy sleeves, and they do come in multiple lengths in this pattern. There's also a few different neckline options. The one that's in the pattern picture for the dress, that gives an idea of the sort of length sleeves that I would do, but it also gives an idea of the sort of neckline that I would choose to give that piratey vibe. Again, it's open and it's got ties on it. So we've got that loose, flowy feel to the shirt, which really to me says pirate. Then I thought I'd think about bottoms. I know some people prefer wearing skirts and some people prefer wearing trousers, and I don't see why that would have been different for pirates back in the day, quite frankly. They're already, as a she pirate, bucking the trend and not really sticking to convention, so if they wanted to wear trousers, I'm sure they would. So thinking about skirts now, I'm thinking you could possibly layer these for costume purposes. I mean, the time period that we think of when we think of pirates, European dress would have been layers and layers of petticoats and things for women, and that would have been all classes, all walks of life. So a little nod to history here, but obviously the patterns themselves are not historical. So we've got 2 Simplicity and 1 Vogue. First we've got Simplicity S9145, which actually has a knee-high slit on it, so that gives a suggestion of allowing for more movement. Obviously we all know that skirts are absolutely fine for doing pretty much anything in, but it gives that visual idea of having the movement, and it is a nod to having the skirts hooked up to show the layers underneath. So if I was layering, I would probably put this one as one of the top layers, but obviously you can hitch up any of these skirts if you chose to. Certainly the Simplicity ones might be a little bit more tricky with the Vogue one, but we'll get on to that in a minute. So yeah, so I thought this one was a good nod to piracy rather than being a totally accurate depiction of a period skirt. It's got the right sort of shape to it, and it's got the right sort of length to it for the period, or it's a modern take on the period, but obviously the slit would have been completely not done in the day. But as I say, I'm not a historical costumer, so it doesn't matter if it's not historically accurate for my purposes. So yeah, so I like this one. It looks like it's going to be quite a simple skirt to sew, and there's an elasticated waist, I believe, and it's got rows of shearing across the hips, so we'll hold it in a bit at the waist and give it a nice piratey silhouette. Not that I'm obsessed with the word piratey for this video at all, but hey. So yeah, so I thought that one would work well for our purposes. The next skirt is another Simplicity skirt, and that's S9016. Again, it's got a silhouette that I think would work for a piratey look, and also the waistband and the detail at the waist with this kind of drapey bit kind of gave that vibe to me of a piratey skirt. Again, you could hitch that one up if you wanted to show layers underneath or to show a bit of leg, whatever vibe you were going for with your pirate costume, or pirate outfit I should say. It's not really a costume if you can then turn the items into everyday wear, I suppose. So that's the 2 Simplicity skirts. The third skirt pattern I've got to show you actually comes with a few variations. It's the Vogue V8956, and with this one I was thinking particularly the asymmetric hem versions. I mean, the one that the model is wearing was the first image I saw of this pattern, and it said pirate to me straight away. Again, this would work laid over the top of other skirts, showing them underneath it. I thought the asymmetric hem worked very well, and the silhouette of it worked well. I probably would avoid the straight skirt versions of this skirt, but any of the more kind of A-line asymmetric hem skirts I thought would work quite well for a piratey inspired outfit. Then moving on to trousers. The first one I'm going to show you is a Mimi G pattern. It's a Simplicity shirt and trousers pattern. It's S8889. Now the silhouette of these trousers, totally not accurate, but gave me the idea, just gave me the impression of the period breeches that men would have worn in the kind of 17th, 18th century, which is the time period I generally imagine when I think pirates. I mean, obviously that's a really small window compared to when pirates were around, but that's what sticks out in my head. So the billowing out over the hips and the slightly narrower, obviously it's not tight on the calves, but slightly narrower at the calves, it just made me think of breeches, particularly sailors' breeches. And I know historical costumers out there are going to be tearing their hair out going, they were nothing like that. Again, I'm not a historical costumer, I am not trying to be historically accurate. I'm just trying to give an impression, a vibe of a pirate with these patterns. So yeah, I thought those would work for a modern take on the old-fashioned pirate. The next pair of trousers, again, probably not the right time period if you're trying to be historically accurate. I don't know enough about Thai history and Thai fashion history. These are the Papao wrap pants by Ready to Sew, and in the blurb that came with the pattern, when I looked it up, they do state that they're inspired by the kind of Thai Indonesian fishermen's trousers. And they kind of feel appropriate for pirates, with this wrap detail at the waist and this sort of looser fit at the top. Again, narrow on the leg. I can see them tucked into boots or worn with nothing on your feet as well. So yeah, like I say, probably totally the wrong period, because I know nothing about the history of that part of the world and when that style of trouser came in. But it did strike me as quite a practical garment to be wearing for leaping on and off boats. And it's a relatively simple sew by the look of it as well. There's no closures to worry about. So if you're in a hurry, or if you're quite the beginner sewist, they might be a good option for a piratey outfit. And the third pair of trousers that I've got to show you is by Thread Theory. The Lazo trousers. Again, they've got wider at the hips and more narrow towards the ankles, so they tuck into boots quite nicely. But these ones, it was the waistband that really leapt out and said pirate to me. It's quite a wide waistband, and those buckles, they definitely scream pirate to me. Again, giving the impression, modern twist on pirates of old. So I've actually had my eye on this pattern for a while. I'm quite tempted to make a pair of the Lazo trousers for myself. We'll see if that actually happens. Okay, moving on to waistcoats and tunicky type things. I don't really know quite what to call them, but those long sleeveless, not quite coats that you quite often see 16th, 17th century pirate imagery wearing, or at least in the depictions of European male pirates anyway. So I've got a couple of patterns that would work for this. It's the Vogue waistcoat trousers and shorts, which is V1707. And the Macalls waistcoat M8122. These are both long line waistcoats that give the right kind of shape, and obviously you can adjust the waist to the length to whatever you're going for with your overall outfit. They're quite similar in a lot of ways to patterns. I mean, the detailing is obviously different, but the silhouette is quite similar. Coats were a bit tricky to find. In fact, coats were next to impossible to find. The one that I found that would work the best is the Vogue jacket V1714. So this is, in the picture, is shown in like a faux leather, which you could do it in fabric, but I found that the silhouette is reminiscent of the old military coats, and I thought the high-low hemline would work very well for a piratey vibe. Yes, I know, zips, far too modern, but again, not doing a costume drama, not trying to be historically accurate. It does, however, give me a nice swashbuckling vibe, so I thought that would be a good fit for a modern take on the old school European pirates. And of course you need a hat if you're going to be doing this for a costume rather than an everyday outfit. Now there are some patterns around tutorials and videos and things on YouTube and on the internet for making tricorn hats, but when would you wear them outside a fancy dress? So I thought a good alternative, and one that does hark back to pirate films. Again, I don't know how historically accurate it is, but there we go. So a good alternative would be a wide brimmed hat in some sort of stiffish fabric, so maybe a felt hat, pinned up at the front with some sort of piratey brooch. And I did find a couple of options for making one yourself if you didn't want to buy one. And there's the Sew a Reversible Sunhat online class from Creativebug. So if you have a Creativebug membership, that is there for you, and it includes the pattern. And obviously they do free trials, so if you're not a member you can always try it out. So that's that one. And then also on Etsy, Shannon Mac Designs has the Cote Sunhat. So I thought both of those would be suitable to modify to make a piratey hat out of, and then take the brooch off. The rest of the year you've got a nice sun hat. So yeah, so that's my concept of a pirate in modern day pattern form. And as I say, we're going pirate with an office job rather than historically accurate pirate, because that's not where my expertise lies. So I hope you found that useful. If you did, give this video a like and let me know in the comments any other pirate type sewing patterns that I may have missed. If you want to see more from me, hit the subscribe and ding the bell to be notified when I next upload a video. I aim to produce a video every weekend. Sometimes it's videos like this one, sometimes it's more focused on a particular craft or technique, and I'd love to see you in the next one. So until then, happy crafting and fair winds till then.